India City Expats Club is a non-profit social organisation and our speakers are volunteers. The club as such assumes no responsibility or liability for the professional reputation of or the quality of services provided by the speaker today.
Services with the latest visa opportunities and challenges. Okay, good morning. Obviously, I'd like to start first by thanking you all for coming today. It's great to see you all. I last spoke here in July, which was 10 months ago. I cannot believe 10 months has flown by. Thank you to Ren for inviting me to come and talk with you. Before I start and explain who I am, I would like to pass my condolences to Les, who passed away sadly. I know he was a great friend to all of you Expat Club members. My condolences go to his wife, his family and friends. So, is there anyone in here that does not know who I am? Okay. My name is Duncan Foster. I am the company director and co-owner of Mots Services. We specialise in visa services, driving licences, bank accounts now to a certain degree, and other ad hoc immigration services like tourist visas, TM30, and what I'm going to speak about now, the TDAC, which is the Thailand Digital Arrival Card. Do we all know what that is? Hands up who doesn't know what it is. Okay, a few. So, before COVID, whenever you were flying into Thailand or coming by sea or by border, you would have to complete a TM6 card, which was your entry card into Thailand. So my first recollections of this was always being woken up by stewardesses on the way into Suvarnabhumi asking me to fill out the TM6 form. When COVID came along, the airports wanted to get you in and out as quickly as they possibly could. So they stopped doing the TM6 form. However, by sea and by land, they did not. So the TDAC, the Thailand Digital Arrival Card, is now the replacement for the old TM6 form. Okay, so if you are entering Thailand via land, sea or air, and you are non-Thai, you have to complete this form. Now, there are many people, and I've already been asked this in my offices, saying, I've lived here 20 years, why do I have to do it? It doesn't matter if you've lived here 20 years, you're best friends with the Chief of Immigration Officer. If you're not Thai and you are coming into Thailand, you have to complete this digital form. Okay, so how does it work? So, I have been your crash test dummy, and yesterday I went on to the TDAC website, and I completed the form for you to see how easy it was to use, what I thought of the software, etc. Now, to get onto the portal is quite simple. You just go onto the TDAC immigration website, or there is a scan code that you can scan straight into. So that was nice and easy to use to start with. Now, I like to think myself as digitally competent when it comes to filling in e-forms or e-sheets. So, I found this frustrating at first. There are several drop-down menus that aren't that easy to use. I think for the older generation, people that aren't comfortable with using smartphones or iPads, laptops, they may find this difficult. So there are 3 e-sheets to complete. The first one is your personal information. So they ask you for your name, your gender, your nationality, your passport number, date of birth, occupation, and where you are coming from, so what country you are coming from, and where you live. So you have to put your address in there, or where you live. They also want your phone number from your home country. Okay? You then move on to the second e-sheet, and they're asking you for your date of arrival, where you've travelled from again, purpose of travel, how you'll get into Thailand, so by air, by sea, by land, what type of flight it is if you're coming by air, your flight numbers, And then the opposite, they want your departure details as well. And then you move on to the third sheet, which is accommodation information. Now this is the tricky one for me. For many people that have not been to Thailand before, you may know the name of the hotel you're going to, and you may know where it is in Pattaya, but do you know that, is it Banglamun, is it Nong Pru, is it Pong, is it Lake Mapachan? You have to complete all these details. So for me, for people that live here, for ourselves, we should all know where we live and our addresses. But for those that are coming and have never been here before, I think this is going to be quite frustrating for them, because you have to put all this information in. So, my advice would be to anyone doing this for the first time is have all your information available when you start. So your passport, where you're travelling to, your home information, and then it'll be a lot swifter. So it took me about 15 minutes to complete. And then what I found fantastic by this though was as soon as I hit submit and I put my email address in, I got an email straight back with my TDAC reference number. Why is this important? It's important because when you arrive in Thailand, you have to show the TDAC reference number and your passport details to the immigration officer. Now, Thailand immigration are saying they're doing this because they want to reduce paperwork, they want to have more security on their borders, etc. One of the questions I keep being asked is, why is Thailand reinventing the wheel? Why is this something new? It's not new. Many countries have been doing this for years. Okay, so America, Australia, Taiwan, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore already have a digital arrival card entry system. So Thailand are just jumping on the bus and joining in. So they're not trying to ruin our lives, as I'm always told by customers, that Thailand make things really difficult. They're just joining in, okay? So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think for those of us that live here, sometimes we get frustrated, but it's just one of those things, you've got to get on with it, okay? And at the end of the day, we're guests, we have to put up with their rules. So, just to recap, if you are entering Thailand and you are non-Thai via land, sea and air, you must complete this form. So you can do this 3 days before you travel. So when I went into the system, I put in that I think I was coming on the 25th. So it only gave me a 3-day block to register what day I was arriving. Okay, so you can't, I've been told already that you can do it 3 months before you travel. You cannot. It's 3 days before you travel. So, the 1st of May, Suvarnabhumi Airport, thousands of people coming in. This has been advertised really well in Thailand. It's been all over social media, all over Facebook. So I would think that people that live here know about this. But you're here already, so you don't have to do it unless you go out and come back in. But for those people that are travelling into Thailand, I'm sure there's going to be a large percentage of people that don't know about this. Now, I've already had a look on Google. The airlines are talking about this. So if you're travelling to Thailand, the airlines are telling you this is something that has to be completed. But I still think on the 1st of May, I won't use the word I want to use, I think it's been an absolute nightmare. So how are they going to manage this? Immigration have already put their hands up and said there's going to be teething problems, new software, don't know how rigorously they tested this. So if you've not done it, then what happens? No one really knows yet. But what I think will happen is that you will either be asked on the plane to go into your smartphone, if you have one, and complete the document, or they will give you an old TM6 form on the plane, which you will complete, or when you get to the airport, they will have a manual system, probably huge queues. So that's why I say, I think if you're travelling on the 1st of May, or within the first couple of weeks, good luck. Okay, I will say, okay, I'm an agent, I'm in business. Mots Services will be offering this as a service to our customers. So if you live here and you know you're travelling in a couple of months' time, you can come and see us. We will complete the form for a fee, of course, but we will do it for you. So 3 days before you get back into Thailand, we would send you an email or however you want us to communicate with you of the information that you require. Okay, and we will be doing this for customers that don't live in Thailand as well. So from today, we will start advertising this service. Now, I am sure there are going to be questions on this. Please wait till the end, okay? I will do my best to answer them. If I can't answer them, I'll take your contact details and I'll get back to you when I can answer them. Okay. Transport agency. Do you know, when I came in July last year and I spoke to you about this, the scam, who was here when I spoke about the scam? Yeah? As I said, for the next 6 months, nothing happened. There was no changes, and then the last 4 months, from an agent's perspective, have been the worst 4 months of our lives because everything has changed. So I will talk about banking, but I will do the transport agency first. So the transport agency, what services we use 2 agencies to do driving licenses for people. We use Rayon and we use Banglamun. Currently Banglamun are taking 3 to 4 weeks to give you an appointment date if you're doing things yourself. Okay, whereas Rayon, we can get things done in a couple of days. Rayon have got some new rules. So if you have a DTV visa and you go to Rayon and you want to make new or even renew a current license, they will only give you a 2-year renewal. Okay, DTV visa is a tourist visa, so they treat you as a tourist. Also, if you go to Rayon to make renew a license and you made your original license on a different passport number, you must take both passports or at least a photo of your old passport ID page. Now, Banglamun have recently changed one of their rules, and it may upset some people that have lived here a long time and gone to the trouble of getting their yellow house book and their pink ID card. Before, you could just go there with your yellow house book and pink ID card, give it to them, and they would make your license or renew it. They are now refusing to do so. Even if you have this documentation, you must go to immigration first, you must get a residency certificate. Okay, so that changed within the last 6 weeks. Okay, my next main topic is banking. Have we all read about the banking changes that have happened in the last, let's say, 4 or 5 months? Okay. In November of last year, the Bank of Thailand said enough is enough with these scams and money laundering going on. So when I spoke to you in July regarding the driving licence scam, that was 1 year old at that time and is still going on at the moment, where for those of you that weren't here, there are people offering you driving licenses where you don't have to do anything at all. You just send them money via line. You never meet anybody. You just pay them money, never get a license. That scam now is nearly 20 months old. And it's still there on Facebook every day. Every day I'm going in and putting scam, scam, scam. Okay? So the banks have had enough of this. They've had enough of all these scams, and they said in November, the Bank of Thailand said to all the banking groups, okay, we've got to change our processes. We've got to get our house in order. So for those of you who don't know, there are over 100 million bank accounts in Thailand. 70 million of those have genuine phone numbers connected to genuine people, apparently mostly Thais. The other 30 odd million, apparently us, Westerners, have dubious phone numbers or unverified phone numbers connected to those bank accounts. So the Royal Bank of Thailand said, okay, anyone now that is making a new bank account with a new phone number or going in to tell the bank they have a new phone number and want to change it on their existing account, you must go to your service provider, to AIS, DTAC, True, and any others, and you must get a receipt from them to show your SIM card number, your passport number, your telephone number, and your address. You then have to take that documentation to the bank, and they will update their systems with this. Okay, it's the only way of doing it now. So, what the bank said is if these 30 million accounts, if any one of you out there had one of these accounts, and they felt that the phone number was unverified, they would send you a message via internet banking app or maybe an email to notify you to go into the bank and just verify that phone number belongs to you. If you haven't received the message, don't worry. If you have received the message and you've ignored it, there is a cut-off date, which is the 30th of April, and then the banks have the right to freeze your accounts until you do go in and verify your phone number. Okay, so that was the first start to these banking process changes. Then we found out, we mainly use Bangkok Bank, that nobody entering on a tourist visa under 50 or student visas that weren't attending a university or DTV visas could open bank accounts anymore. So that was a bitter pill to take for us, but we could still open bank accounts for people who wanted to make retirement visas. On the 1st of February, the Bank of Thailand sent out another directive. Nobody entering Thailand on a tourist visa, doesn't matter what age you were, could open a bank account. Which obviously, for people who want to come here and start a life and make a retirement visa, it couldn't happen, you couldn't open. And this went on for about a month. So we had many customers coming into our agency saying, I want to make a retirement visa, and we're saying, well, we can't help you because you need a bank account to make a retirement visa. I'm glad to say, recently this has changed. If you're over 50 and making a retirement visa, then we can facilitate your retirement visa application, as Elizabeth found out yesterday. Unfortunately for Elizabeth, she was at the bank 5 hours. So the banks aren't rushing. They view it now as a case-by-case basis to open bank accounts. They even have their cyber crimes departments now checking through your details because they are determined to stamp out money laundering and scams. Okay? But has anyone in here had a message from the banks regarding your phone numbers? And have you been in to see the banks?
Call the bank.
Call the bank. Okay, great. So gold star. So if you have and you haven't, you could have potential problems. Okay. I don't want to miss anything, so I'm quickly reading through my notes. Okay, lastly, last couple of things I want to talk about before I open the floor. DTV visas. When I came last time, apologies, I've forgotten the gentleman's name, but somebody made a speech after me and spoke to you all about the DTV 5-year visa, how you could get a visa for 5 years. It comes in 6-month blocks. You would come in, you get your first 6 months, you could then go to your local immigration office, they would give you a further 6 months. You then have to leave Thailand via land, air or sea, come back in and start the 6-month process again. You could do that for 5 years. And it's a fantastic visa for people under 50 who want to stay here long term, that don't want to marry a Thai girl and have a baby. So at the time, it was a great concept. And a lot of agents jumped on the bandwagon. Now, officially, to make a DTV visa, you should be outside of Thailand and make the application because it's an e-visa, and you arrive with your e-visa, and show the immigration officer and you get your 6 months. But many agents in Thailand chose to facilitate, charged horrendous prices. I think the real visa costs 10,000, and the agents were charging up to 130. What I've heard, and I can't prove this, but if you're going out to Thailand and re-entering, the borders aren't too fussed. But if you're going to your local immigration officer and you've used an agent, they are asking the DTV people to provide all the original paperwork to prove they had the money and all the other things that they needed to have. And people aren't able to provide this information, so apparently they are having problems getting their next 6 months. So when you use an agent, make sure you use one you can trust and can deal with things post-sales, because some people have had real problems. The other problem with the DTV visa is you are not, as I've already mentioned, you are not allowed to open bank accounts. Definitely in Pata and Chonburi. I've heard that some provinces, there are ways of doing this, but of course in Thailand there's always ways of getting things done. So for the people that came here on a 5-year DTV visa thinking life was going to be sweet, they are now encountering problems unless they did things properly. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is, very, very quickly, is about retirement visas, because as I said earlier, there was even a stage where we couldn't help facilitate renewals. Not even just making new visas, we couldn't facilitate the renewals. Agents, not just Mots Services, all agents can do that now. So at least that's one good piece of news. Okay, so as I said, Mots Services, we specialise in retirement visas. We're very proud that we are the cheapest in the East of Pattaya for helping you make your visas, making new or renewing. And we've even had to put our prices up recently because of the changes in the immigration and the banks, and we're still the cheapest. So we're proud of that. We offer driving licence services. As I said, we go to Bangladesh and Rayong. If you want a fast service, we go to Rayong. It's all done quickly in one day. If you want a slower service, we do the local transport agency, Bangladesh Transport Agency. As I said, you go 2 times. One time just to book the appointment, and then currently they're 3 to 4 weeks in advance to make new or renew if you are transferring international licenses or home country licenses. If you are coming here with no license at all, and you have to do the standard 2-day course with theory tests and driving tests, they are always booked 3 months in advance. We also have fast track options for people that don't have licenses. Okay? So that's about it for me today. It's not so long, I didn't want to bore you too long. Are there any questions on anything I've spoke about today? Okay, let's start. This young man.
Just going back to the DTAC form,
Yes.
actually, you mentioned that when you filled it in online, they was also asking for departure information.
Yes.
When I fly in, I normally have a flight in and I get booked a flight home as I don't fancy going home, maybe 4 or 5 months later.
Sure. Good question. I would need to go back in because there are some fields that are mandatory to fill in. You've got the little red stars. I didn't notice. So it's a good question. I will have a look though.
Presumably I could go and have to pay like you did.
Yeah, you do get a message at the end of it to say entering false details is against Thai law. However, there is an option to delete once you've done it. Okay, that's what I did. I just deleted what I did. So yeah, go in and have a play. See if it's easy for you to use or not. Another thing came up to me. I was speaking to one of my friends who's an IT guy, and he mentioned this. When you put your home address, so where you're coming from, when he tried it last week, you couldn't put a Thai address.
Right.
Now, I put in my supposed UK address, so I didn't test it because I didn't find that out until after I'd already tested it. So there may be, as immigration said, there may be glitches with it. So don't expect it to work straight away.
There's been a couple of things. One with the TDAC. The Barry Kenyon wrote an article in the Pattaya Mail where he was quoting one of the officials saying that you can still arrive in Thailand without having completed the TDAC. However, expect very long delays because you will have to do it once you arrive.
Yeah, that's what I said before. If you haven't done it, I think there are going to be massive queues.
Yes. Now, the next item is a more personal one for me, is because on the issue of bank accounts. Because yes, I did get a message from my bank. And my issue is that my telephone is postpaid, and it's in my late partner's name. So it's not in my name. But some of the reading I heard was that if you don't do it, it's internet banking you cannot do, not your regular banking using your desktop. Do you have any information on that?
They are already stopping you from using internet banking. Some of the services, not all, but some. But what I read in the Bangkok Post, so I can only tell you what I read in there. They said from April the 30th, you've had notifications since November. This is when it came in, so they can freeze your bank account until you sort that out. In your case, you are one of those where it's not verified. So really you need to go and get a new phone number, get the information from the service provider, and then just go into your bank and say, I want to change phone numbers. Okay, but I would do it. I would recommend you do it.
Duncan.
Yes, young man.
Latest banking thing that I hear now is that I can only have one bank account.
Officially, yes. However, there are ways of...
I already have 3.
Yeah. So yeah, they're not going to... I'd imagine if they wanted to really force that, it would be for new people coming into Thailand, but they're not going to close down your accounts. I wouldn't worry about that.
Just with what I heard about that is it's not one bank account per person, it's one bank account per phone number is what I heard. So the mobile app can only be used with one bank account. You can't have the mobile app connecting to multiple bank accounts.
Correct. And it must be a Thai number as well.
Which sort of makes sense because it makes it harder to scam somebody to put a wrong phone number in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well, are you?
Fine. Excuse me about the DBT visa.
Yes?
You should embark in my country or I can do it here.
You should be out, officially you should be outside of Thailand and make the application in a different country. But you can apply here, and when they issue your e-visa, you would leave and come back in, and that's when your e-visa would start.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Just a dash to Cambodia and back, right?
Two questions. One, from the wording of it itself, does it apply to exiting the country? It says arrival card, but what if you're already here and you're leaving the country?
No.
Doesn't apply?
No, only if you're arriving into Thailand.
Okay, next question. Assume you've been here 10 years, you're doing your yearly retirement visa extension. If you already have the $800,000 in the bank, are there any changes to the renewal of the?
No, nothing's changed. With the non-O visa, nothing has changed. No.
Yeah, I just returned from a trip from the Philippines,
Okay.
and so I did use DTAC, and I really liked it. It was fine, but I had the same issue. As for my residency, I couldn't select the country Thailand in the pull down. It wasn't even there. Right? So I had to do the same thing. I just picked the United States, and it accepted it even though it's not real information. But when I arrived, I was all excited to show my reference. I had everything ready on my phone. Immigration didn't even need it. They just said, they saw it right away against my passport number.
Sure.
So
I think that's because it doesn't officially go live until the 1st of May. So from the 1st of May, they will be checking.
You didn't.
No, the immigration officer said...
Wait a second.
no. The immigration officer said, I see your form. I see all your information. I don't need that. I see it all.
Okay?
Okay? It was already...
But if you...
It's the same in the Philippines too. Philippines is digital also, and it was the same way when I went through there. But I was surprised when I came back to Thailand. They also, as soon as they got my passport, and I try to show my phone, my confirmation that I filled out the TDAC.
Yep.
The immigration officers, I don't need that. I see it right here.
Yeah. But if you read the literature that they are advertising, I'm telling you,
That's
you need to do it.
That's why I had it ready. Like,
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So, immigration do what they want here, you have to remember that too.
I just came back yesterday from Australia and I didn't fill it out because it doesn't start till May 1st.
Correct.
Thank you for your presentation. I have two questions to clarify. First, you said which country you are from. When you have a stopover, is this from the stopover? Or is this from, let's say I fly via Doha to here to Thailand, yeah? From Germany.
It asks you where you're from, and then so you put your country, and then it asks you where you're traveling from.
Oh yeah, where I'm from. Yeah, where I'm living is not like residence. Yeah, you said they ask where I'm living, or they ask where's my residence.
They ask what country and where you live. So for me, I live in England, and I come from Staines. So you give your country and the town that you live in.
Here in Thailand. You're not living here in Thailand. Under no visa you're living. You have no residence in
No, but this is for people that are coming from home country to here.
Yeah.
For you, we've already mentioned this. At the moment, you cannot put you live in Thailand.
No, you have to put you live in Germany because you're resident.
Yes.
Yeah, because this is living and to be resident, not the same. But what I understood, nobody is resident in Thailand. Is all our visas never give the residence. But okay, you can clarify this very better. Then okay, this was the question. And what are you doing when you not know where you live? I mean, I have my residence or my condo, but what people doing? Sometimes I came to Thailand and I decided when I was there, you have a lot of offers. I choose just from the airport. I will go to Pattaya and go maybe to the Hilton. But
So that's what I said to you. So they're asking you for that information. Now, if you want to be creative, then be creative. Because that's what people used to do on the old TM6 card as well.
You're not actually encouraging people to lie in Thailand. Nobody lies in Thailand, do they?
Creativity.
Creativity. I love it. Any more questions? Oh gosh, they're breathing.
Okay, you mentioned on there that you have to put a return date on, right? Back to your country?
Yep.
What about if you get a round trip ticket from here?
That's one of the things that we're going to have to find out going forward. As I said, I can't remember now, but there are mandatory fields you have to fill in. However, when I got to the departure, I cannot remember if that was mandatory or not. So I understand.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard a story from that when I renew my O visa, I can no longer use the agent's money in and out of the account. It's got to be my money.
We can facilitate your immigration application.
Okay, so I don't need to transfer loads of money across before I do my.
You can transfer the money if you want to, yes.
I prefer not to.
And then you'll pay tax on it, you know, if you transfer money in. Oh, they're breathing.
What's the situation with TM30 now?
Okay, the only exception on TM30, so for those of you who have retirement visas and you re-enter into Thailand and you're living at the same address, you are the only lucky people that do not have to register a new TM30 when you come back. So if you're on your marriage visa or the DTV or your parent visa or student visa and you come back into Thailand, even if you're at the same address, you must still go and tell immigration within 24 hours that you're back.
And the one I got from you in my passport, does it have a life?
Well, if you stay at your same address, forever, because you have a retirement visa.
So if I go to immigration, I can still get services even with an old one?
Yes.
All right. Oh, God. Quick one.
Quick one. So my Bangkok bank account, right, was opened a few years ago with the same number I still have today. But when I originally opened it, I used an old passport. Is it beneficial for me then to go to AIS and say, hey, I have changed my passport, should you update your information?
You don't have to, if you're using the same phone number, you don't have to change anything with your phone number, but you do need to go and tell the bank the passport number's changed.
That I did already, I'm just worried about the phone number.
No.
All right, it's the phone guy, the guy who gets phone calls during meetings.
Nice to see you again.
And you?
Full of the correct information. Thank you for answering a couple of those things on digital and banking. The banking side of it, I also read somewhere that as of the 1st of May, I might be incorrect on this, you have to make sure you have 15,000 baht in the bank. These bank accounts that are just carrying 1,000 or 2,000, they seem to be looking at as a bit dodgy. But that's what I read.
Where did you read that?
Where
did you read it? Where did you read it?
Same as you, where you read your information.
Where was that? Bangkok Post?
You did the Bangkok Post.
Yeah?
I looked at the
Okay,
Bangkok.
I've not read that in the Bangkok Post. What I can tell you is if you have a bank account and you have less than 2,000 baht and it's inactive for 1 year, banks can close your account. I have no idea about 15,000 baht. Okay.
You may be able to confirm it.
Okay, no problem.
Alrighty then. Well, we've got a special event. We've got the presentation of the certificate. We have a special certificate girl.
Yes.
This is Amy, who's coming on board, taking over booking speakers for the club. Come on, Amy.
I'm trying.
Hello.
Hello, Duncan. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
a fabulous presentation, bringing us up to speed on the latest with the grand adventure of your visa in Thailand. A certificate of appreciation.
That's very kind, thank you.
Thank you very much. Right? Because, yeah.
Three's a crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Thank you.
Okay, can I just say thank you so much for coming today. Love talking to you guys. I love coming to these expat clubs, so thank you so much.